We'll be going to three different African countries: Nigeria, Kenya, and definitely our base Ghana, where we'll be taking the newspapers and hear what they are talking about.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
So, starting from Kenya, we'll be reading from the Nation newspaper. And the headline says, "No more KCPE, KCSE exams in changes to the education system." A whole new world in the education system was unveiled yesterday. Now, basically, to put rest to questions that have lingered on since the competency based curriculum CBC was rolled out in the year 2019. The state is intending to expand all public and secondary schools to host the learners in grade 7, 8, and 9. And it will also see the measure of primary schools that are left with low enrollment figures. Also, authorities will resolve one of the key concerns about the new system. So the details regarding the structure, the policies, and the implementation of the CBC, which happens to be a complete departure from the 844 system that has been in place for over 35 years, are contained in the task force report that was launched yesterday in Nairobi by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Well, he described it as a turning point in the educational system. And the learners transitioning from primary school will no longer sit the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, which is KCPE examination, and that has been in place since the year 1985. Also, the students who are currently in Standard 5 will be the last group to sit the exam in the year 2023, marking an end to one of the most iconic moments in the lives of millions of Kenyans. And in the new structure, you have the learners who join in the secondary school at a much younger age but spend more years at that level. So the assessment of learning will be determined by their scores in the cumulative continuous assessment, which is beginning in grade 4, and then also a summative examination in grade 6. Now, the learners will undertake assessments that are weighted at 20% in grade 4, 5, and 6, and then another one which is weighted at 40% at the end of grade 6, just to make a score of 100%. So the assessment tools will be developed by the Kenya National Examination Council, KNEC. Well, I think anything that has to do with education is good. And the most important thing is if you're truncating or you're actually trying to change the educational system, the key thing is ensuring that it's an advancement or an upgrade on the one that already exists, and you're ensuring that what you're bringing is going to better develop the children, better improve the educational system, and the people, the graduates you'll be churning out will be ready for the job market. Well, that's a story coming from the Nation newspaper in Kenya. Now we're moving on to Nigeria, where we'll be reading from the Punch newspaper. And yes, interesting headlines. AFCFTA commences nationwide awareness sensitization tour. Well, the National Action Committee on the African Continental Free Trade it was agreement, but then for some people it's area. So, Free Trade Area has inaugurated a nationwide awareness and sensitization tour to prepare Nigeria in taking advantage of the AFCFTA agreement while mitigating its threat to the economy. A statement was issued on Tuesday, by the communication coordinator of the committee, Zachary Jimeta, and he said the AFCFTA sensitization tour would kick off from Kaduna State to Bauchi State and all other 34 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. The Secretary, the National Action Committee on AFCFTA, Francis Anatogu, and he said the committee's mandate was to coordinate the activities of the private and public sector at the federal and subnational levels to implement AFCFTA for the benefit of Nigerians. He also added that the strategy was to work with the states based on their areas of comparative advantages and priorities as a way of building up the national export trade and then also creating jobs at the grassroots levels. That is amazing news. I mean, there were some hurdles when it came to signing and ensuring that all African countries were on board with the AFCFTA. But now knowing that Nigeria has set up on a sensitization tour, it's a good thing. I think all other African countries should actually copy, they should emulate this, because one key thing is ensuring that the main stakeholders in this would understand. But what happens to the people at the grassroots level if they're just hearing there's a trade agreement, there's something that's going to help us go to other African countries to trade and work freely. But if we don't break it down for the citizens to understand and learn how to take advantage of it, how to benefit, and how it's going to create jobs for them, I don't think governments are doing a good job. So kudos to the Nigerian government for what they are doing, ensuring that people are going around, reaching the grassroots level, and trying to get them to see the importance of the AFCFTA. Now, what just kicked my mind is we still have to observe all COVID-19 protocols because it's very important. Finally, we're going to Ghana, or coming to Ghana because we are in Ghana. So we'll be reading from the Graphic newspaper, and the headline says Appointment Committee begins ministerial vetting today. Well, it already has started, but the vetting of persons that were nominated for the ministerial positions is actually, like I mentioned, has already started. It started today. And we have with the Minister Designate for Health, Mr. Kweku Ajimamenu, and the Minister Designate for National Security, Mr. Albert Kandapa, appearing before the Appointments Committee of Parliament, ACP. Now, the decision to vet these two nominees ahead of the other 33 nominated for various positions is to ensure that the government becomes functional to carry out the business of state. So, due to that reason, priority will be given to some nominees, particularly for health because of the COVID-19 situation, the country, followed by those of national security and finance. The minority leader and ranking member of the ACP, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, earlier explained. Now, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the sitting of the ACP will be under strict COVID-19 safety and preventive protocols. This year's vetting is to be billed to be different from various vetting processes, as the 26-member ACP, which is chaired by the First Deputy Speaker, Mr. Joseph Osei-Owusu, will critically scrutinize and probe deeper into the backgrounds of the nominees, which is very important. Well, we wish them all the best of luck. I mean, sitting down and getting scrutinized will not always be easy, but if you're worth your salt, you're worth your salt. So we wish them all the best and hope they come out successful. This brings us to the end of Headlines Across Africa.